Hello and welcome to this series of tutorials offered by Creative Media Lab with Spilani. And in this series, I will just talk about some basic tools that you will require to finish your editing work. And for this, our choice of software is Adobe Premiere Pro, which we have bought in the Creative Media Lab. And hopefully you can make some good use of it. Okay, so let's get started with it. And before I go any further with the Premiere Pro, let me just talk to you about some free tools that are available online. The reason I talk about free tools is because we usually have a lot of students, as you know, in a Creative Media Lab, and it may not be the case that always you will have access to this tool, and also it's very expensive to have for a student. So let's just say that if there are any few free tools which are available for you, which you can make good use of. If you are on a Mac, I guess the best way to go about is iMovie, which comes with your operating system and which can give you a very good quick start with your video editing work. It comes with all the basic tools that you require, and you can put a lot of effects and all. You can just simply drag and drop videos and export them in various formats. If you are on Windows, we are aware that there is this tool called Windows Live Movie Maker, which is also a basic video editing tool. And like iMovie, it is also pretty good for home videos and any kind of basic video work. Okay, so you can give them a try if you do not have access to professional softwares or expensive softwares. But if you do, like in Creative Media Lab, we do have some softwares. You can give them a go, right? In future, if you own a Mac and if you just want to work in Mac all the way, the professional software for video editing is Final Cut Pro, and it has all the tools that you require to finish any kind of video work, no matter how big or how small. Just one quick note here, that with the current version of Final Cut Pro, which was launched in 2012, they made some drastic changes in the software, and these changes were not really received very well in professional video editors because they oversimplify things, which is not really required if you are working in professional environments, right? So that is just one thing to note when you are working with Final Cut Pro in future. Secondly, we have Adobe Premiere Pro, which is available for both Windows and Mac, and which also has all the basic tools that you require to finish any kind of video project, no matter how big or how small. So this is our choice of software for now, and we will just talk about doing any kind of video work in this software. So let's get started with how Adobe Premiere Pro works. But before I go into that, I think I will just talk about understanding your formats. In Creative Media Lab, we have two kind of cameras, and every single camera that you use will come with its own format. Like this kind of Sony HD cam comes with a format which is AVC HD, right? So you need to know what resolution it basically takes the video, and what is the frames per second, right? If you are using a DSLR like Canon 60D, which we have in Media Lab, it basically comes out as MOV, and frames per second may differ with the Sony HD cam. So it is always good to know all these things, that what is my final resolution and what is the frames per second, because it helps you to start the new project in an editing software, right? So once you know that what format you are shooting the video in, you can start a new project in Premiere Pro. When you're starting, obviously you need to know your video format, whether it is MOV or FLV, or FLV won't be there, whether it is MOV or AVC HD, and also you must make sure that you have enough hard drive space. The reason I say that is very quickly your computer or your hard drive or your project folder will be full of a lot of raw footage and music and any other thing that you will require to finish your project. And once you start editing that work, Premiere Pro saves a lot of cache files, which are temporary files, and they require a lot of hard drive space. So make sure whatever drive you're saving it has a lot of hard drive space. Also, it is very important to manage your files well. What I mean by that is, for example, I've created this folder for Creative Media Lab YouTube tutorials, okay, and here I will just save everything. Here I will save my test footage, I will save my Premiere Pro files and stuff like that. And it is very important to have this kind of folder structure. Later, if I put some music, I will put it in separate files. Now this may all sound very simple that we are doing this, but just imagine if you're working on this kind of project. Let's say you're working on a film and you finish it off, and 6 months later you decide to redo the music, or you decide to redo some effects in the movie. When you come back to that video, and let's say you are working on a different machine, there are chances that you may have forgotten a file somewhere else. Like, let's say you have put some file here, but you want to work in this particular project. Premiere Pro may not be able to find that file. So it is very important to keep all your files in one place and keep all your project folders like this one in one place, so that when Adobe Premiere Pro does any kind of temporary work on your edit, it can be saved there, right? And make sure that you have a lot of hard drive space. So once you have all that, make sure you know very well that what is your final deliverable, right? It could be just some online streaming network. You may just want to put it on Vimeo or YouTube, but like in Creative Media Lab, we have already made it clear that we will be accepting compressed MOVs and FLVs in 1080p resolution and 25 frames per second. If you are trying to put your movie for some festivals, all festivals may have different kind of requirements and all. If you're putting it on YouTube or Vimeo or other stuff like that, they may not really require straight away, but it is good to know what kind of formats they accept, so that you can have the best quality even while streaming on something like YouTube and Vimeo. So know them well, and we will discuss them more in detail once we come to exporting videos from Premiere Pro. So now I will just start a new project in Premiere Pro, and as soon as you open Premiere Pro, you will come to this particular window, and now I will just go through the instructions that you will require. So I will just click on new project, okay, and I will specify a location where I want to save all my projects. So I'll specify it here, and I will just call it test 06, anything like that, okay. I'll hit OK, and this brings me to this window in which I have to specify what is my raw footage specification. Now I have no idea what is my raw footage specification like, right? Maybe you have shot your stuff in AVCHD or anything. Let's say this is my raw footage, and I have no idea what is the final resolution and what is the frames per second. For that, what I will do is I will just hit OK. I won't worry about those settings at all. Okay, so this brings me to this particular timeline, which is right now empty because there is no footage imported. But let's say I import one of the raw footages that I have. Okay, so I will just click on this window or this video. I have chosen this video and I will just drag it. Okay, so for importing videos, you can either drag them or you can just go to File and Import, and then you can specify from where you want to import that video. Okay, so basically what you need here is you need to create a final project which should have exact same dimensions and exact same frames per second as your raw footage. Now if you just click on this particular video, which is your raw footage, you will see all these settings here. Okay, so now I see that this is a movie file. It is shot at 1280 by 720. It has square pixels, which is 1.0, and it is shot in 25 frames per second. Now I just have all the information I require to start a new sequence. A new sequence basically means this timeline. So I will just click on File, New, Sequence, and now I will just choose HTV and click on HTV 10, 20, 25. Okay, After hitting this, make sure you go to this general tab and just quickly do some settings as I am doing right now. Okay, so for editing I will just choose a desktop. For time base I will just match it with the time base of my raw footage, which is 25 fps. For frame size, right now it is 1280. For you it will be, I guess, 1920 by 1080. For this one I will just put 1280 by 720. And this 1.0 in brackets basically means pixel aspect ratio. That should be always 1. And now I will call this sequence as my final edit version 1. Okay, so now in this sequence, which is the final edit 1, now you can start to import your projects and they wouldn't have any problems. Okay, now it is matching the window properly. Let's say if I had imported in the previous sequence, if I double click on the sequence, I will come to that sequence, and this was actually 1440 by 1080 and pixel aspect was different, 1.3. Now if I import this project, my raw footage in this file, you can see there are differences in the frame size and also in the pixel aspect ratio. So make sure you do not make this mistake. I will just delete this sequence because now it is of no use. It was a temporary sequence. I just hit delete there, and now my final edit has exact same dimensions as my raw footage, so I am good to go. Okay, so that is all about importing your files and starting a new sequence in Adobe Premiere Pro. We will discuss more about the tools in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.